So I just picked up Nintendo World Championships NES edition, and I just kind of want to unbox it and kind of share some stuff with you about this particular game. The collector's edition. It comes with extra things, such as a replica game pack, a pin set, and art cards, and instead of $30, it costs $60. This definitely will be a collectible, but I'm opening it here today. Just a brief history lesson before I open the box. So the original Nintendo World Championships, basically they toured across the United States, and it was the earliest form of what we currently call esports. And of course, in these competitions, the players would compete at particular retro Nintendo games, and all of those games and the same challenges are included on this cartridge. And the winners of these championships were gifted either golden or gray Nintendo World Championship cartridges that contained these games. And in this sort of collector's edition, the NES edition, you get a replica of the golden cartridge. So one thing I'll tell you guys, because it was kind of a bummer to me, the cartridge is a replica. It's not a functioning replica, it is just a plastic replica. It's just a shell, that's all it is. So like I said, this edition goes for $60. Now that the history lesson's out of the way, let's get into the box. And see that replica cartridge I was talking about? It is just a empty shell. It doesn't function, but it's a really cool thing to stick on your shelf. So there it is right there. It comes in a sleeve just like an original Nintendo game would. Now, I'm not exactly sure what the original cartridges look like. I'm sure they just had regular information right here. But on this replica cartridge, you can see that we have a mushroom, a sword, a bow, a turnip from Mario, first, second, and third place symbol. There's just lots of little Easter eggs. And then copyright Nintendo. And of course, because this is a replica, if you look down there, there's not any golden pins or anything to connect to the system. It's just empty plastic, which is a bummer. I'm not exactly sure what the original NES cartridge sleeves are made out of. They kind of looked like plastic in the pictures. This one did as well, but it feels more like a paper in hand. Just in case anyone was curious, this is more like just a folded paper sleeve. It does look a little bit like plastic, but it's not. So right here in the middle, we have our game. It is Nintendo World Championships NES edition. And right here we either have the collectible cards or the pins. I think it's the collectible cards. Yeah, so these are the collectible cards. I'm not exactly sure what the amount is. I think that there's 13 of them in total. I'm going to correct myself if I'm wrong. But we have a card for each game that is included in these challenges, I'm pretty sure. It's basically a high quality print of the original cartridges. You can frame it, do whatever you want with it. But they're double-sided and they're pretty neat. And it's just high quality photo paper. And put that back in the box, because personally I'm not going to put those on display or anything, but I have them now. And in the second box right here, we have 5 collectible pins. The only thing that I find a little weird, so while the boxes are different thicknesses, clearly, the boxes aren't labeled. Like this doesn't say collectible cards, collectible pins. I don't think it needs to, but obviously they look the same side by side. Okay, so here's our 5 collectible pins. Don't remember what they are, so this will be my first look as well. Okay, so we have a Super Mario one, a Legend of Zelda one, a Nintendo World Championships one, so just sort of a general one. Then we have a Metroid one and a Donkey Kong one. So this is a little piece of foam, but this actual material here is like some sort of suede or velvet. It is $30 more to get this version, but everything is super high quality so far. Can't complain. Realistically, am I going to do anything with a replica cartridge and pins and postcards? Probably not. It's just something that I personally appreciate. Then I'm posting this in case anybody else appreciates stuff like this and they want to pick it up for themselves. So here's the Zelda pin pulled out. So it says copyright Nintendo. And the whole back's gold and you have a little black cover for the actual pin. Like I said, everything is super high quality print. You can see right there it says Nintendo World Championships on each and every one of them. Well, I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do with these cards. These pins essentially come in their own display box. I see that's kind of glaring right there, but they essentially come in their own display box, and they're in there pretty good. So you can just invert the lid and have a nice way to display these if you want to stick them in your shelf or whatever. So this is just about everything. We have our collectible cards, the game, our displayable replica cartridge, and our collectible pins, which I'm going to stick off to the side. Believe it or not, there actually is one more thing in the bottom of the box, and you guys might know what it is if you've done any research on this. This is a cartridge stand for that replica cartridge, and wow, I didn't look at any other unboxings or anything before. It is a lot more substantial than I thought it was going to be. Like, look at that. I'm sure it'll get scratched easy, but it's definitely pretty impressive. I know it's just a piece of acrylic or whatever, but Look at that. So let's get our display cartridge right here. Just gonna hold on to this, put it back in the box for now. I'm gonna try not to get my fingerprints all over this, but you can see just how glossy that finish is. You can even see the camera. So it slides onto the display base either way. It doesn't matter, but obviously I want it on the side that says Nintendo. I've never seen a new gold cartridge. The gold cartridge that I have is an old Zelda one, and obviously the finish is pretty worn down, but this thing looks absolutely amazing. Yes, it is a paperweight. That is the extent of what it can do. But like I said, this is just the kind of stuff that I appreciate. Obviously on top we also have the game label, just like a normal NES cartridge. Last thing we're going to do is boot up the game and just see what that's all about. I really don't buy a lot of physical games. The last physical game I bought was Tears of the Kingdom over a year ago. But I just figured that this would be something interesting to have. So you can see on the inside artwork, it has each and every game that's included. These are all sort of speed running or challenges, stuff like that. So it says 150 challenges from 13 different NES games. To be clear, this isn't the games themselves. You can't just sit there and play through the games. You can do that if you pay for Nintendo Switch Online. This is just if you want to speed run the games and stuff like that. This cartridge over here. And obviously the art on the NES cartridge is the exact same as the Switch cartridge, which is significantly smaller, but you see what I mean. Grab these Skyward Sword Joy-Con. They've just been sitting in this corner for who knows how long. So I'm not going to show off everything, but whenever you boot up the game, you have one player or party mode, because you can obviously play this game with friends if you'd like, and they show right on the back of the box you can play with up to 4 different people, and you can all speedrun the exact same game at the exact same time. Even if it's not a multiplayer game like Super Mario Bros. 3 like they're showing in the picture, you can all play at the exact same time, which is pretty interesting, but let's try just one player mode for now. Then there's a little history lesson that I gave you guys earlier. So it looks like using points from your games, you can unlock different icons. Just go with this Legend of Zelda one for now. Just pick that. So it looks like the only thing I can do is the very first Super Mario one. Can't even switch the game, so let's just pick that. So this is the speed run to get the Super Mushroom. Oh, well, the buttons are different than I thought. And obviously it keeps track of how long you take, and you can do it over and over until you get a certain time. And if you turn on online features, obviously it'll put you in a leaderboard, I'm pretty sure, so you can see how you compare against other people online. So after you do that one Mario one, you have access to literally all of them. And then going to the side, there's a lot for some games and not a lot for some. For example, Excitebike only has 4, while Zelda probably has the most. So let's just try this Zelda one. And the speedrun challenge is just to get the sword. Oh, well, I don't even know how I managed to mess that up, but that's the gist of the game. So you have the speedrun mode, which is what I was just showing you guys, and you have the World Championship mode, where weekly they have 5 different challenges, and you can see how you rank globally. Survival mode, it says survive 3 matches against ghost data from around the world. So this is basically a battle royale mode, very similar to Mario 35, which was discontinued. Player icons, pin collection, and just settings. So yeah, that's all there really is to talk about for the Nintendo World Championships NES edition, Collector's Edition. It comes with a lot of stuff that's essentially paperweights, but like I said, if you're into this kind of stuff, you'll probably think it's interesting. Kind of hard to fit it all in frame, but here's everything. You get the actual retail box, which is actually, like I said, embossed in pretty high quality. You get the replica cartridge stand, the replica cartridge, which has its own sleeve, the Nintendo Switch game, 5 collectible pins, and 13 collectible art cards, which are double-sided. I know that this is the Deluxe edition, and it just comes with a bunch of collectible stuff, so I'm sure over time these eventually will be worth something, so maybe I shouldn't have opened it. But, you know, I just wanted to get a video out of it and kind of share it with you guys. I doubt I'll make more from the video than what I paid for this, but I'm still glad that I opened it, and it's definitely a really interesting collector's edition. These sort of printed out postcards, I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do with those, but the replica cartridge and the pins are definitely my 2 favorite things. Like I said, they're just paperweights, so they're just going to sit on my shelf, but I just think that they are great decorations to add to my many decorations. Personally, I probably won't play this, but if you guys are thinking about picking up Nintendo World Championships NES Edition, go ahead and get the Deluxe set, Collector's Edition, whatever you want to call it, because it definitely does give you some pretty cool trinkets. But I'm just leave it here. Thank you guys for watching. That's all from me. I'm out. Peace.